Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to completely break down the profound themes and the incredible lasting importance of Surah Al-Kauthar. Look, if you're gearing up for your Islamiyat 2058 exam, you are in the exact right place. We've structured this explainer specifically to help you master question 1, so you'll have everything you literally need for both your Part A and Part B answers. I am so thrilled to guide you through this, because this surah, even though it's actually the shortest one in the entire Quran, is just packed with unbelievable depth, raw emotion, and amazingly fulfilled prophecies.
Let's quickly run through our agenda. We'll be looking at 1. Context, grief and mockery. 2. Theme, the promise of abundance. 3. Theme, fate of the enemies. 4. Importance, prophecies fulfilled. And 5. Importance, lessons in gratitude. We are going to trace this narrative logically, starting with the historical context, moving right into the core themes for your Part A answers, and wrapping up with the importance and relevance for your Part B answers.
Section 1. Context, grief and mockery. To truly understand this early Makki surah, we absolutely have to ground ourselves in the historical reality of the time.
Imagine, just for a moment, the heavy sorrow the Prophet was experiencing. He had just suffered the immense, heartbreaking personal loss of his infant son, Abdullah. Now, in any era, the loss of a child is a tragedy that just brings life to a complete standstill. But remember, in the tribal society of Makkah at that time, having a male heir was incredibly important. It was deeply tied to a family's legacy, their social standing, and how they would be remembered by the community.
And compounding this intense grief? His own neighbors. Specifically, his uncle Abu Lahab and his wife cruelly mocked him. Rather than showing even an ounce of sympathy, they weaponized his tragedy. They started calling him Abtar. This was a deeply offensive insult, meant to imply that he was completely rootless, that he had no living male descendant to carry on his name, and that his legacy would just die out and be totally forgotten.
That brings us to Section 2. Theme, the promise of abundance. This agonizing moment of cruelty triggers a direct divine intervention revealed specifically to console the Prophet.
The verse declares, "Verily, we have granted you Al-Kauthar, so pray to your Lord and sacrifice. For he who hates you will be cut off." This is so powerful because it beautifully counters the cruelty of his enemies. It doesn't just comfort him, it delivers an ultimate promise of divine favor. It completely flips the script from a moment of intense worldly loss to a guarantee of unimaginable eternal abundance.
Let's look closely at the word Kauthar itself. It actually comes from Kautharat, which means plenty, a lot, or an endless multitude. So Allah isn't just promising a quick replacement for what was lost. No, He is promising a profound, multi-layered abundance that goes way beyond normal human understanding. It's a guarantee of multiple, never-ending blessings.
So, what does this Kauthar actually look like? Well, this abundance was promised in 4 distinct, undeniable ways. First up, a continuing bloodline through his daughter Hazrat Fatima and Hazrat Ali, the Sayyids. Second, a massive global following that transformed his legacy into a vast worldwide ummah. Third, the abundance of preserved knowledge, specifically the Quran, revealed over 23 years which remains perfectly intact. And finally, the ultimate reward in the hereafter, the promised pond of Kauthar in paradise.
Moving right along to Section 3, Theme, Fate of the Enemies. Having established this incredible promise of abundance, we pivot to this second major theme for your Part A answers. The Quran takes Abu Lahab's cruel, venomous insult, Abtar, meaning rootless or cut off, and literally reflects it right back at him. The surah confidently declares that it is actually the enemies, the ones hurling the insults, who will be completely cut off from history. Their legacy, their names, and their progeny will be the ones that just vanish into the sands of time. This is a brilliant historical contrast. Seriously, think about it. Abu Lahab's family tree is totally lost to history. Nobody today knows who his descendants are, right? His name is literally only remembered because he was an enemy. Meanwhile, the Prophet's lineage via Hazrat Fatima is meticulously documented by the Sayyids today. They are spread across the entire globe, thriving and deeply respected. It is just a stark, undeniable historical irony. This brings us to a fascinating narrative pivot as we transition into the importance or Part B of our study. We know the historical context, but how is this ancient constellation relevant to Muslims right now? How does a believer interact with this surah in the modern day? Let's dive into that.
Section 4. Importance. Prophecies fulfilled. The true importance of this text is that it's a living, breathing prophecy for believers today.
It's really incredible how the Quranic promises directly parallel realities we can see today. The promise of a vast ummah? Well, that's reflected in Islam's incredibly high global conversion rate. The promise of preserved knowledge? The Quran remains completely intact and is recited globally by millions. And those continuing roots? The Prophet's lineage is thoroughly documented and highly revered. These are not just ancient words. For believers, they are highly visible realities in the modern world.
Furthermore, the concept of Kauthar extends deeply into Islamic eschatology. Numerous hadith describe the glamour of the pond of Kauthar in heaven. This holds massive importance for Muslims. It offers the incredibly comforting promise that after the intense thirst and exhaustion of the day of accountability, faithful followers will be gathered to drink directly from the Prophet's hands at this abundant pond. It's a hugely powerful motivator for faith and perseverance.
Finally, Section 5, Importance. Lessons in Gratitude. This brings us to the last crucial point for your Part B responses. This surah teaches Muslims exactly how to respond to immense blessings, giving a very clear, actionable framework for gratitude.
Because of this tremendous, overwhelming abundance, the Prophet, and by extension all Muslims, are ordered to show their gratitude through real action. They are commanded to pray exclusively to Allah and perform nahar, which is the sacrifice of animals. And these aren't just empty rituals. These practices actively pull a person out of hardship. When you physically give something up for your Creator, it provides a very deep, enduring sense of self-satisfaction and spiritual grounding. This teaching in Surah Al-Kauthar aligns so perfectly with other verses in the Quran, affirming, "Verily my sacrifice, my living, and my dying is for Allah." It emphasizes a core Islamic principle. True success in this world and the hereafter doesn't come from hoarding wealth or obsessing over what mockers say. It comes from dedicating one's life, prayers, and sacrifices entirely to Allah. That ultimately is the path to true abundance.
I want to leave you with this final thought to carry with you well beyond your exam prep. If the cruelest mockery and the deepest, most heartbreaking personal loss resulted in an unmatched eternal legacy of Kauthar, how can recognizing your own blessings help you navigate the challenges you face today? When you feel cut off or just totally overwhelmed by temporary hardships, remember the enduring lesson of Al-Kauthar. True abundance and ultimate victory always belong to those who remain devoted and grateful. Good luck with your studies and keep looking for the Kauthar in your own life.